The Buteyko course, as we mentioned, the Buteyko course is 5 sessions of 90 minutes, including one of these introductions. We're going to be here all week, both from 4:30 to 6 and from 7 till 8:30. Everybody who does the Buteyko course is welcome to have someone with them to provide support. So like a partner or a relative. Under 18s must be accompanied by an adult. And there's no charge for the supporting person, only the one actually doing the course. If there is a second or third family member who needs to do the Buteyko course, then it's half price for a second or third family member. We can teach Buteyko successfully to anyone from 3 years upwards. There is no upper limit. 92 is the oldest person I've had do the Buteyko course. And it's not that it doesn't work for children under 3, it's just that we can't guarantee the concentration and participation. But if there are parents of children under 3 who do have respiratory problems, we're quite happy for them just to sit through the course on a donation basis, and we've had several times now where that's happened, and a couple of times they've been able to report back to us that with everything that they'd learned in here, watching other people, understanding the theory, and then when their children start to have asthma attacks, they've been able to totally reverse them by closing their mouths. But they said, how could you possibly attempt to do that if you didn't understand this and hadn't seen what happens? Because when your child is struggling for breath, you think that's the worst thing that you can possibly do. And this is one of the tragedies of Australia's asthma epidemic, and it's one of the reasons why the Buteyko method has been a bit controversial. Because the current system of treating things doesn't really seem to work very well. Because you don't hear of people who got asthma, went to the doctor, and then 5 years later they don't have asthma, they don't take drugs. Most people have worse asthma and take more drugs than they did when they started out. And you very rarely hear of people who get diagnosed with sleep apnoea, who go on CPAP machines, and then one day they've got no more sleep apnoea, they give them the machine back and they don't have any problems. All we're doing is treating symptoms. Most of us just sign up for life and end up using, cranking the machine up or taking more medication. And it's also the reason why a lot of people who do the Buteyko course with us, by the end of the course they get very angry. Not angry at the practitioners, but angry to think that this method's been around in Australia since 1990 and they didn't hear about it until they saw something in a local paper a week or 2 ago. But it's not really anyone's fault. It all comes back to the way the method was introduced into the country. Remember, its introduction's been very different. And we'd encourage you to share the information that we give you with your doctors. And some of your doctors have still probably never heard of it. Some of them might. We know people are now often referred by their doctors, but a lot of them just don't know much about it because they don't even get time to read all the medical journals. Most of the technical information they get is what gets thrust under their nose from pharmaceutical representatives. But after we do the course, or even before we do it in some cases, or certainly during it, we come to the conclusion that the way that conditions like asthma and sleep apnoea are currently being managed is at the very best maintaining the condition, but in most cases, unfortunately, is making it worse. How many people go on a CPAP machine and then stop their sleep apnea and no longer need the machine? How many people get put on asthma drugs and 5 years later don't take any drugs and don't have worse asthma? Most of us just sign up for life and things continue to get worse. And again, that's one of the reasons why the Buteyko method has been very, very controversial, because it actually fixes the problem. It took nearly 5 years to get the first clinical trial of the Buteyko method in Australia, and it took 4 years after that for the results to be published in the Australian Medical Journal, December 1998. When you do the Buteyko course, we give you a kit of information, including a set of notes. The most important thing in here, though, is the exercise sheet, where you're going to be recording the results for the various exercises and techniques that you learn, and also for the monitoring of your pulse. And the right-hand column is where you make notes about your change in physical condition, sleeping pattern and so on, and also change in medication intake. The sets of exercises, well, they take you about 12 minutes to do per set, and by the end of the course it'll be taking you a total of about an hour or just over an hour per day. So it's not an hour straight through, it's in these blocks of about 12 minutes. And we will encourage you to continue doing those exercises for a minimum period of a month, or until you've always got your carbon dioxide level at least the 5.5% mark. And we're going to start measuring your carbon dioxide levels on Saturday, not using any equipment, but using breathing techniques that Buteyko has developed. The course fee also includes any follow-up that you require, so when we do further courses you will be invited to attend. We also give you 24-hour telephone contact when you do the Buteyko course. And let's just say that you did enrol this week and you did 3 days and then something happened in your life or whatever and you had to go away or you couldn't do it, then you can come back and do part or the whole of the course again if you want to. There's only ever one charge for Buteyko. And how many people here did not receive information from us in the post? A few did, a few didn't. Maybe if you just take one and just pass them along if you don't mind. What we've got here is a bit of a kit of information. The first document, the main document, is the newsletter. This is a 6-page document. A lot of the things that we've spoken about today, the history, the theory, the safety aspects, the medication, information about clinical trials, it's all included there in the newsletter. On the front, bottom right, some of you may recognise Peter Thompson, the film critic from Channel 9's Sunday program. He did the Buteyko course about 9 years ago and got great results. And 2 years ago we had the second International Buteyko Conference in Melbourne. Most of the articles on this board here were related to the conference in July-August 2002. And part of that conference was an event at Dallas Brooks Hall, which is a big convention centre in central Melbourne, where we invited everyone in Victoria that we knew who'd learnt the Buteyko method to come along. And Peter Thompson came down from Sydney and compared the event. And on the second page there you'll see a lot of small photographs down the bottom of people holding a microphone. These are people who took the roving microphone and stood up and told their stories of improvement with the Buteyko method. It was a very, very inspiring occasion. Also inside here we have a one-page sheet on the application of the Buteyko method to snoring and sleep apnea. Inside the newsletter itself there's a lot of information about asthma and other respiratory conditions. And the other document in here is the course enrolment form. Also on the back there you'll see an article about the visit to New York from a couple of years ago that I spoke about. Also on the back is a chronology of events surrounding the Buteyko method. We suggest you do the exercises for a minimum period of a month. Some people won't need to do them that long. Some people will need to do them for a few months. But the good thing is you notice improvements every step along the way. It's not a matter of I've got to do this for a month and then I'm better. You're going to notice within 24, 48 hours that things are getting better. People have the option of coming back to, to do the course, all or part of the course again if they want to. Yeah. But, it's ironic. It's often the people who are the sickest who get the best results. Because if you've been suffering, if you're using a machine, if you've been going to hospital, if you can't work, you can't go to school, or you can't play sport, then you've got huge motivation. Whereas if your condition is mild and you take one puff of Ventolin a month or you occasionally snore, you think, why should I bother to do this and pay money and attend a course? But if your quality of life is affected, you've got huge motivation. But really, it's a method of prevention. What we're trying to do through our institute is get this to kids when they first have problems when they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old, to stop them going down the path that obviously so many of us in this room have had to go down. But human nature is most of us don't do something until the problem is very severe. Well, look, thank you very much for your attention. Just for our planning purposes, how many people are interested? You don't have to commit yourself now, but how many people are interested in the 4:30 sessions this week? And how many people for the 7 o'clock sessions? Because we will be running both, okay? And you can switch during the week if you have commitments. Yeah. Well, thanks very much, and we look forward to working with several of you to help you to improve your health. Thank you.